it's a guy who obviously is going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. Obviously, people assume his natural athletic ability. I got to tell you, he had an extraordinary natural athletic ability, but he worked for that athletic ability. Yes. He worked incredibly hard for that speed and that leaping ability, and it's just, in other words, what I'm trying to say is sometimes the reputation is unfair. And as far as Josh Gordon on the football field, and I'm not saying it is completely unfair because I don't know. I'm just saying if the issue could be that he hadn't played football in a very, very long time, and you just don't go onto the field after missing 10, 11 games, whatever it was, and immediately hit your stride with no training camp. He was a training camp. I shouldn't say that, but you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
No practice.
Exactly what you mean.
Hadn't been there for 2.5 months.
Yes.
You just can't go with the best elite athletes in the world playing this game and expect to hit the ground running. So I think, I think that's the issue more than the guy's not giving effort, because I've never heard he hasn't given effort in the past, and I have no idea. He certainly played well in the short stint that he was with Brian Hoyer last season. He was tremendous. So I don't think it's a guy who dislikes Brian Hoyer and is trying to show him up. But, I understand he's got a bad reputation, and we'll see. Maybe it is.
Some of what you're saying is true, John. Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. We talked about hitting the ground running when you come back, but it is very clear, and just about every member of the media here has definitely pointed out there are times where the effort is not there, and he is dogging it. But I get it, and I know everything that you said is 100% merited. Where I'm coming from is, if that switch is automatically flipped this weekend, then to me, that answers some of those questions in a negative light. I'll be very curious to see. Yeah, I'm just saying, if this week just happens to be the magic week where it all comes back together after a couple of rough weeks, then that would be an interesting coincidence for us to talk about next week. We're going to have a lot of things to talk about next week because Johnny Football is starting. Let me ask you, what do you think happens? You got Browns and Bengals. That's already fired up. Browns whipped the tails off of the Bengals in Cincinnati just over a month ago. And look at the difference in a couple of weeks here. Browns do still hold a chance here. They win this game, and they're right there nipping at Cincinnati's heels with 2 games to play. You've got all of these factors in play. What do you think happens? This is lining up to be a good one. And as I said, if there is going to be a legend of Johnny Football in Cleveland, that is a hell of a narrative of a place for it to start.
Yeah, and, there's certainly an opportunity. This is a game where if you look at you say, to be honest, I have no idea what's going to happen. You have a Cincinnati team that is just Jekyll and Hyde, helter-skelter from week to week, have a chance to basically put away the North last week at home and just fall apart. It's just they all year, the first 3 games of the season, they look like the best team in football. Then all of a sudden they can't win in a month. They seem to have gotten it right. They win 3 straight road games for the first time in franchise history. And then they come home where they're 13-1-1 and they lay an egg. I can't figure out that team to save my life. And with the Browns, obviously, you don't know what to expect because of the quarterback. You don't know. You don't know, and anybody who says they do is crazy. But the bottom line is they've been competitive the entire season. I don't expect that to change. I don't expect Cincinnati to roll in there and win 40-10. They're going to be in the game. They're going to have a chance to win it in the fourth quarter. And this is it. This is what, Johnny Football is supposed to be about. To expect a rookie quarterback, I keep going back to that. It doesn't matter. The name is irrelevant. To expect a rookie quarterback to come in week 15 of the NFL season who has never played before and take your team to the playoffs by winning out is that's a tall order.
Absolutely. So, if your name's Connor Shaw, that's different. Look at the different expectations if Connor Shaw is starting this week. People are just going, can we snap the ball without fumbling it? Can we get a couple of first downs? Can we just not suck? But because of the name, like you said, because it's the same deal. You've got an untested, unheard of quarterback who is decent in college, who is now a rookie in the pros, who's been sitting on the bench all season. You could just replace Manzel for Connor Shaw, and you've got the same surprise element, but a different name. You know what I'm saying? That my point is not Connor Shaw. I'm not in any way advocating him. I'm using him as an example that people in Cleveland would recognize as the third string quarterback, but he's also a rookie. He just doesn't. He's not Connor Football. He's just Connor Shaw. You know what I mean?
No, and like I said, the name doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't. You're just expecting a rookie quarterback to come in week 15 and lead your team to the playoffs. I'm not saying the Browns expect that. The Browns just want improvement from week to week, and they think they have a better chance to win with him this week. The fan base expects that, though, and to expect that of any rookie quarterback doesn't matter the name. Doesn't matter. It could be Bortles, could be Bridgewater, could be Carr. Could be Manzel. Could be Andrew Luck when he was a rookie. Could be John Elway. Peyton Manning. Doesn't matter. It's a tall order, especially in the division this difficult where you have to jump over, in essence, 3 teams to win the division.
I'm telling you, I will say this. If you're listening out there, I know I've got some scoreboard operators that listen to the show. If you're a scoreboard operator for the Browns, and I'm just saying, just put it aside in case things go the Browns' way this weekend, I'd have a clip of the Munchkins running down the yellow brick road singing "Follow the Yellow Brick Road," and I would play that on the video screen as the Bengals are walking off with their heads down. But that's a dream for the future here. We'll see. It's going to be fun. I mean, like you said, the fact that you said I have no clue what's going to happen. Everybody can say that. The Bengals can say that. Hell, the Browns can say that. Nobody has the slightest clue what is going to happen in this game, so that is incredibly intriguing. It's going to make for must-see TV here in Cleveland and all the way around. And what that also is the biggest reason why what the Browns are doing here may give them that spark, regardless of Johnny or whatever his name is. It's because of that unknown, because you've got 3 games and teams scrambling late in the season to defend a guy that they have no film on and that they have no prep work on. And maybe the Browns are hoping that the element of surprise, along with the athleticism and the defense that we're playing, is good enough to get the job done. So,
Yeah, and you might be on to something there, because if you look a couple years ago at Colin Kaepernick when he came in,
exactly, yes,
after Alex Smith got a concussion, versus Colin Kaepernick today, you've seen the adjustments. You have seen the adjustments, and it's much more difficult for Colin Kaepernick. Not that he doesn't have he's had some great games, especially in the playoffs against the Packers. But as a whole, this season he's been a tremendous disappointment, and people have started catching up. But one of the things he does have in his advantage is the fact that he is a movement-based quarterback. They haven't seen him before, and he does bring things to the table that obviously Brian Hoyer doesn't. And you can run the read option. He can keep it, and he's far more athletic than people think he is. And for the midget jokes, yes, I said the word. I apologize.
Hey, don't worry about it, man.
He's got a half inch on Russell Wilson, who's already got a Super Bowl ring, and when he wins this week, we'll have more wins than anybody in the history of the game for his first 3 seasons. So I think some of that is changing, as I said, with Wilson and Breeze. But this is a kid who. Yeah, I've said it from day one. He's got the physical skills to play quarterback in the NFL. I'm not sure if he's got the other skills. And I think, whether he's successful this week and the rest of this season, long term, we're talking about 10 years. And I think that'll be borne out by whether or not he matures off the field and starts taking his profession more seriously.
Absolutely. The other thing the Browns did was make this week a pain in the neck for the Bengals coaches, because when you play a team twice in a month this late in the season, traditionally you've already done the majority of your scouting work. You're kind of just going to piggyback off of the game plan that you put together a couple of weeks ago and just tweak it a bit. But really now it's all out the window. So, hey, that's another reason why strategically I'm positive that all plays into why the Browns have gone the direction they did. Going to be exciting here. As we said, Browns fighting for playoffs, got that whole division. All of these, oh man, looking around, we've been talking about it here on the show, going around the entire AFC. There's 4 2-11 teams, and everybody else is the Browns or better. 7-6 or better, and 4 2-11 teams. It's gonna be a crazy 3-week run for the AFC teams, especially here, not just in the North.
Yeah, it is, and that's why you have some of those games where you look at Baltimore, for instance, going down to Miami last week, and that was basically a do or die game. Not mathematically, but the Dolphins are pretty much cooked, and all of a sudden the Ravens look like they have a chance to run the table, and that's how quickly things change in the NFL from week to week.
Well, we know that. Brian Hoyer just used that same quote this weekend. Some of these games, I tell you, the Colts lucky to survive last week with the Browns, because had they lost, Houston would have an opportunity to tie them here for first place, but still a chance for the Texans to put themselves just one game back with 2 to play over there in the division. Even though Indianapolis still controls their own destiny, that's going to be a really big one here for the playoffs and the divisional races here coming up this weekend. Miami and New England, another one there. I mean, there's going to be a lot of games here this weekend that are going to be very big. As you said, maybe not mathematically do or die. Some teams they are, but a lot of them. You've got San Francisco and Seattle again here. You've got Minnesota and Detroit. I mean, there are some big games, Dallas and Philly, all coming up this weekend.
Yeah, and this is the week. The Broncos can win the West. The Colts can win the South, as you mentioned. The Patriots can win the East. The Cardinals can clinch a playoff berth. The Packers. So this is the week where it really starts. Things start shaking out.
Vashawn's got a good point there, too. Houston, they kind of got a little edge. They've still got Jacksonville coming up down their schedule, too. So they can go a long way to helping themselves here if they're able to beat the Colts this weekend. And, you got to think that defense can go out there and put a shot at it. It's going to be very interesting. Arizona, St. Louis, a lot of good ones. Be a lot of fun. Of course, the focus here in Cleveland is on number 2. And I can't wait till Monday, because you and I we'll know at least what we're talking about. No more speculation. It's going to be interesting to see not just how Manzel does, but how this game goes, because it's a rivalry game, an in-state game. It is in the thick of the playoffs and the division and all of that. So just that stuff alone would make this a good Browns and Bengals game. Add in number 2, and that's an interesting recipe for soup right there, my friend. Interesting recipe,
Yeah, it's the time. So everyone get excited, because it's only going to happen once. First NFL start.
That's it, at home, and we'll see. And we'll talk about it next week, and we'll see if he's in position to do anything else, because Carolina, speaking of, who knows who the quarterback will be there. I know that's 2 weeks from now. Browns have to face the Panthers, but Cam Newton, I don't know if you saw the pictures of his car flipped over there, and apparently he's going to be able to get out, or did get released here today, but he has the 2 broken bones in his back, similar to Tony Romo. Going to probably miss at least 1 week. Is it going to be more than that? Have you heard anything more than that here today on Cam Newton?
No, he has been released, and it was a scary situation. Same injury. It's generally been a week or 2 at the most. So I would think, because astonishingly, if it's up to him, the Carolina Panthers are still involved in the NFC South race. He'll probably try to give it all he can to go. He's certainly going to miss this week, but I would think he'd try, especially if Carolina can somehow get a victory. He'll try to be back on the field for that game.
They're half game back. I'll tell you what, John, I said this yesterday. That Carolina-Cincinnati tie could win the north of the AFC and the south of the NFC, because that half a game there could be the difference with those teams all bunched up at the top of each division. Wouldn't it be amazing if that tie ends up coming into play here at the end for both the Bengals and for the Panthers?
Yeah, they usually do. They tend to every time there is